Hi, we're going to do a short arm cast application, and the fingertips is the measure to stocking it. It will be from the fingertips to the crease of the elbow. We will use a stockinette for your finger. We're going to use scissors. We're going to use a web roll 2-inch. I usually use a 2-inch for this short arm cast. We're going to use gloves. We're going to use, of course, a fiberglass, usually 2-inch. And I'm going to use 2 of the fiberglass. So now we're going to proceed and measure where the thumb is going to be. A little hole for the 2-inch stockinette. We're going to proceed and put it on the patient's arm. Remember, positioning is very important. We have to have a very nice and straight fingers, and we're gonna see and measure that we have enough stockinette, because we're gonna flip it down eventually. Make sure the thumb is nice and straight and pointed out. Make sure we have a good positioning of the wrist, and make sure you have no wrinkles at all. We're going to proceed and do our gumby for the thumb. If you can tell, we have 2 little creases. One is longer than the other one. So the one that is a little bit more longer than the other one is going to be on the outside. The shorter is going to be on the inside. This is how you place, just to protect the thumb. Make sure you don't have any wrinkles. And we're going to make a little hole on your web roll. This is going to be for your thumb, so it won't move your web roll once you place it. Make sure you grab it really good and always roll this way. You're going to see your roll pretty nice and firm on against the skin. Make sure you don't have any wrinkles. We go over and under your hand, and then we proceed and start doing 50-50 coverage, so we have a pretty good coverage, and it's going to be evenly on all the way down to your forearm. If you do it this way, you don't have to go back. So you see we have the 50-50, and we don't have to go back and put a little patches anymore, because it's going to be a well cover. Nice and evenly distribute. See? Okay, now we're going to go ahead and cut my other 3 at the end of the fingers. Around the thumb is the second one. The third one is going to be on your forearm. So this one is going to be for your forearm. It's just nice to have this little cuff right here, just to make sure that we're not going to have any fiberglass touching on the skin. We do our second one, and this is going to be around the fingers right here. And make sure you have at least enough space on the knuckles. We want to make sure the patient is going to be able to extend and bend it, like flexion and extension on the fingers. And this is going to be for around the thumb. We want to cover this area really good. Usually whenever we have patients coming back for a cast repair, is the area that they complain the most. And this is your stockinette. You're going to flip it over, so just make sure you had enough. You're going to proceed, and we're going to put on our gloves, and then we're going to start rolling our fiberglass. This is a 2-inch pink fiberglass. We're going to use some water. You don't have to use water if you don't want to. This is the way you're going to hold it, so you don't lose your end. 2-inch fiberglass. We're going to dip it in water, and then we have a little towel right here to just tap it a little bit. Got your end. We going around the wrist just to make sure that it won't move your roll. And you never want to pull the roll, you never want to do it too tight. We are gonna do a little cut right here. So this is the technique. By the thumb, you're gonna make sure you're gonna cut it right there, and always remember that you're gonna have your at least a quarter of an inch of the web roll coming out of your cast, just to make sure that it won't be touching the skin, and the patient is going to be able to do flexion and extension, comfortable position of the fingers. We're going to proceed and go all the way to the forearm. And you never want to do it too tight. We always going to make sure the cup refill it looks perfect, nice and normal before you let go of your patient. And then we're proceeding, going back up. This is usually a short arm. We don't have to use a whole lot of material, but again, you need to make sure to protect the patient from ourselves, right? So we're gonna proceed and do under the thumb, nice and evenly distribute. We're gonna proceed and cut it right here, and you can use soap or water, and this is the moment where you're gonna start molding it. Again, this type of fracture is for minor fracture of the wrist, either the ulna or the radius, and this is how you're gonna do your molding. With the crease of the palm, with your thumb right there, you're gonna put your thumb right here, right in the middle of the palm, apply a little bit pressure, and then your other hand on the back of the hand, apply a little bit pressure, and you hold it right there for a minute. You do your molding. That way you're gonna have a good mold and the cast won't come down or it won't slide off. And then you flip your ends. Make sure you see the knuckles. See, it's a nice protection right here. It's a good stockinette and web roll protection that you're giving right here. Make sure it's nice. So that's the last cast that we're gonna use. Is our second roll. You already flip over your ends, so you prepare your second roll of fiberglass. You don't have to use the whole thing if you don't need to. And now that you already have your mold, you can start proximal. Keep going distal. Always make sure we have a good position of this wrist. Hold the roll this way. That way you will avoid wrinkles. Make sure you cut it through the thumb, through your crease right there. Make sure never the fiberglass touching the skin, as you can tell. Like I said, you don't need to use the whole thing, the whole roll. I think we have plenty. I'm just gonna apply a little bit more. This cast is non-waterproof, so this is all we need for this type of cast. It is enough. Now I have a little bit of stuck in it everywhere in my cast. It was beautiful, nice and pink. Now I have stuck in it little black things all over. Oops. If you can apply a little bit of soap so you can mold it and rub it and this is stuck in it. It's ruining my job. And nice and molded, and keep your mold. And depends on the fracture of the provider will specify for you what kind of mold he wants. I want to show you around the thumb right here, the gumby, how nice it looks. You have a good protection. And the patient, he has a flexion and extension. You see the knuckles right there? He can flex really nice. He can touch the palm. That's very important. He had a full motion, flexion and extension of his fingers, and he's still well protected around the palm right there and the forearm as well. Can you see that? That way you won't see your patient until the very next appointment, not in between. Alright, and this is what you do. Really, really easy. Your short arm cast. And like I said, this is a non-waterproof cast. I'm trying to clean my cast right here. And that's it. There we go. I'm going to touch it so you can see this is nice and dry. It really technically dries in 10 to 15 minutes. Make sure always your patient had a good cap refill before he leaves the clinic. And that's it. That's your cast. Thank you.